And welcome into Half the Distance Live, your weekly barroom commentary football podcast show. As always, I am Matty Fax, joined by Scotathan Staten, a.k.a. Scotty Stats, Brian the Professor. Slightly off camera, we've got the great skunk hunter, Pepe Le Peducer. For those of you that don't know, we started this as a show on Twitch, where we did a barroom commentary for the football games. I just want to bring it up because I have yet to say it this year, but because of one Joseph Buck. Fuck that guy. He is the worst.
Oh, just the worst.
All right. A lot of fun games this week. Interesting things learned about some teams, whether or not they could come back from pretty demoralizing defeats. And there's still two teams that are over. One of them might be the team whose jersey I'm wearing right now. That matters not, though. Let's get into the games so far this week. Thursday night, before the season started, all of us pretty much had the assumption that the Lions, barring in massive injuries, would end up taking the NFC North. I think Thursday night pretty solidified that, in my opinion. I realize they still have to play the Vikings, and the Vikings have a lot of offensive firepower. But the Detroit Lions went into Lambeau, which I don't care who's starting at quarterback for the Pack. Lambeau's a tough place to win a game. And they came out, and they won 34-20. Now, part of it was Quay Walker. It was late in the fourth quarter. You are not allowed to get a running start at a field goal snap and then try to jump over the offensive line.
To watch, though.
It is a lot of fun to watch, I'm not going to lie. And that gave a first down that allowed the Lions to get the touchdown that basically sealed the game. But Jared Goff, 200 yards passing and a touchdown. David Montgomery back from injury, and holy shit, 121 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, 2 catches for 20 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5 catches for 56 and a touchdown, but they were so far ahead by the end of the first half, they didn't even have to throw the ball anymore.
Yeah.
Also, Aaron Jones coming off of injury for Green Bay and doing nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Jordan Love did look pretty good this in the end, 246 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Did throw 2 picks. And Romeo Doubs, second-year wide receiver, 9 catches for 95 yards.
Yeah, Dobbs looking nice. And Jordan Love, to be honest, I think he's looking fine. You know, it's not the team that they used to have surrounding him, but he's doing an okay job.
He is. And once they get those offensive linemen back healthy and Aaron Jones is actually truly back to full strength, I do imagine that they're going to be better at running the ball because Aaron Jones led them in rushing with 18 yards.
Crazy.
That is not going to get it
He was
done.
their lead rusher?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I just assumed he wasn't.
He also added a catch for -4 yards. So, had that going for him.
Oh,
but again, I think this is more, I'm going to put this as more on the Lions being, at least compared to last year, a much more complete team, especially defensively.
Yeah.
And that as much as, I don't think it's anything negative to the Packers necessarily. I think they played a pretty good game, but the Lions were just the better team. I don't know any other way to put it. Okay. So then we started off this morning. Jolly Old London just really gets to watch a bunch of Jacksonville games against some really crappy teams. Because Atlanta, as the visiting team, lost 23-7 to Jacksonville today. Desmond Ridder, not a great game. 160 yards passing, touchdown, 2 picks. Bijan Robinson did have 100 yards rushing, looked good for him. Trevor Lawrence, 200 yards passing and a touchdown. Etienne, 55 yards. Big thing here, Atlanta finally had a tight end lead them in receiving. It was Jonnu Smith and not Kyle Pitts. But, I mean, hey, it's a step in the right direction to where eventually maybe they'll use that guy that they drafted number 4.
That's the position we had.
Crazy.
I don't understand it.
No.
And he's always so open.
Yes, and the passes thrown his way are completely uncatchable. He's like 6'6". How are you overthrowing this guy so bad?
I pulled up all the highlights that Pitts has had.
But that was a short video.
Yeah, it was about 10 seconds long.
But not his fault.
Not his fault. Get
But
that
it was
man
like
the ball.
literally every catch he's ever had.
Yeah, pretty much. It was all highlight.
A tutorial on how to get open. Kyle Pitts.
For Jacksonville, this is kind of what I would expect out of them, playing in their away from home. They will be playing in England again next week, too, so they're just staying in London over the week, which is smart in my opinion.
That's kind of a nice little edge, too. You're going to be fully reset.
Absolutely.
Right? However, when you come back, now you got to get through all that jet lag, because jet lag is worse coming back this
Absolutely.
way. So.
Well, next week they're going to play the Bills, so.
Oh, wow, the Bills are going to London?
Yep.
Oh, that should be a fun game for those Londoners to see finally. That's awesome. Let's see here. My Bears Good job today by the Professor's Broncos. They beat my Bears 31-28. The Bears were up 28-7 this game, and it's the worst come-from-behind victory they have ever given up. That
That's
hurts.
not bad, though. If that's the worst, that's not bad.
Justin Fields did finally take one of the passing records for the Bears. It was the most consecutive completions in a game. He actually ended up with 16. The previous record was 15. Which is only interesting because Shane Matthews owned that record. If you don't know who that is, it's fine. Only us Bears fans really do. But, okay, both sides, neither one of these teams are going to talk about having top defense. Let's just be honest. There's too many injuries on both sides. And the defensive line for Chicago was terrible. I thought what was more interesting was the fact that both quarterbacks got into rhythm and actually looked good in this game.
Yeah.
And, of course, his name escapes me. I should have written it down.
McLaughlin for the Broncos.
Running back for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Was looking really good. He had some
Undrafted.
moves out there.
Yeah. Good
He looked
hands, too.
he looked
Yeah.
really good today. Yeah.
Which is helpful because Javonte Williams got injured today. Hip
Yeah.
injury. Don't know how bad it is. I have not gotten any alerts on that. So he had to leave the game. And considering he's already coming off a knee injury, it is something to be a little concerned
Well,
about.
like in the preseason, I was like, "Why do you have 5 fucking running backs?" Like, oh, this is why you have 5 fucking
Yeah.
running backs.
I still think they should give P. Ryan the ball some more. I still think he's a good player.
I agree.
But Wilson, 222 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Fields had 335 and 4. Very costly pick at the end.
Yeah.
Overall, though, it looked like the offenses are starting to click a bit. Now, granted, again, it could have been the defenses that they were going against.
Yeah.
But hopefully going forward, this is a sign of better things to at least watch as one of their fans.
Well, he's on par to have more touchdowns in bathrooms by next week. So,
Yeah.
In basketball, when a shooter is going cold, they would say sometimes you got to see it go through the rim.
Yep.
You know, both of these teams, they're coming in 0-3. Their offenses were not where they wanted it to be. Both of them off to such a better start. Broncos have been looking better in general.
Offensively.
Offensively,
better, yes.
see the Bears do this was nice because we see the parts and pieces. It was on display today,
And
yeah,
a
much
very
improved.
interesting little fact that got brought up in the game also. DJ Moore played 3 years at Maryland, had 8 different quarterbacks. 5 years at Carolina, 8 different quarterbacks. The man's averaging 2 quarterbacks a season in college and the pros. Like the fact that he produced so much in Carolina is kind of mind-boggling when you consider that.
Well, nice with the team that historically has gone through the most quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah. A lot. I wish I could name them all, but I don't have that much capacity in my brain for that many names, unfortunately. Another team in the NFC North that was really in need of a win, the Vikings, went into Carolina and did pull out a victory, 21-13. Kirk Cousins, little off his pace that he'd had been throwing at. He was, he was on pace for 6,000 yards. There's no way he was going to keep that up. But 139 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 6 catches, 85 yards, both of those touchdowns. For the Panthers, they couldn't really get anything going today. Chase Young had 200 yards passing. Chuba Hubbard led them with rushing for 41 yards. I don't know if this is more of a sign of how bad the Panthers are, or if the Vikings really, if the Jefferson connection's not cooking.
I mean, two picks, kind of early on by the Vikings. You know,
One of which gave a touchdown. It was a return for a touchdown
right.
by the Panthers.
You're definitely off to a rough start.
I would say outside of that, like, the Vikings' defense was definitely better.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's the
But
Panthers, so it's like, you know.
And Bryce Young had flashes of his talent. I mean, he's playing on a team that's gone through a lot of turmoil. It doesn't look like they're completely cohesive.
Yeah.
You know, it's still a lot to be said about who he's going to turn into as a QB, but it was a fine game.
For the Vikings, though, big win. You go to 0-4.
Yeah.
Your playoff chances historically are pretty much gone.
Yeah.
So a really big win for them. I mean, even now at 1-3, I think the chances at that point are like 9% to make the playoffs. It's tough in the NFL. To me, one of the most surprising games today. The Bengals go to Tennessee to play the Titans. Titans, up to this point, have played no pass defense, and they smoked the Bengals. Holy shit! 27-3. Tannehill had 240 and a touchdown. Derrick Henry threw a touchdown and had another 122 yards rushing. Joe Burrow, 165 yards passing. Chase, 7 catches, 73 yards. Like, this just was, I don't know what's wrong with the Bengals, but something is very, very wrong with this team right now.
Yeah. Jamar Chase was getting interviewed after the game, and they were talking about what it takes to get open. He goes, "I'm always open." And well, probably wasn't like completely the case today. But I love the attitude, right? He's one of the top wide receivers in the league. Yeah, the assumption is he's always open, which means things are not clicking. Something is not, you're not giving enough time, whatever it is. This is surprising because the past 2 years, they're Super Bowl caliber teams. Last year, obviously. But even the year before, it was, down to the wire. They made a hell of a run.
When they
but they were off to bad
the
starts.
Super Bowl, their offensive line was terrible,
Right.
and Burrow could still produce.
Right, they were off to bad starts, but boy, this one doesn't look like it's going to get corrected. I mean, prove me wrong, boys.
I mean,
I'm here for the
yeah.
comeback.
Part of
but-
this could be the calf issue for Burrow. Can he not actually plant and put enough power into the throw to be able to get the ball downfield to the open receiver? It is a question that has to be asked.
Yeah, that leg injury, is it still lingering?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I don't know. I've never injured my calf. I have to assume a lot of different things you do on the football field get very affected by that.
Right.
I mean, I've gotten a Charlie horse before. That hurts. I'm not a professional athlete though, so I have no idea. Speaking of,
Nothing like floundering when you wake up with 2 Charlie horses. Like, I don't know what to do right now.
just lie here and die.
Take me, Lord.
Speaking of a team that nothing is clicking, the Steelers got routed by the Texans today. And Kenny Pickett left with an injury, but the fact that he even got 100 yards passing blows my mind. Okay, JD's got some jokes now. I don't need the puddle pirate talking trash, okay? I don't need that happening right
You
now.
could do before you saw it.
Yeah. For the Steelers, Najee Harris finally had a somewhat decent game. 71 yards rushing and 32 yards receiving to be the leading receiver for the Steelers today. That offense is playing very poor. The Texans are not, though. C.J. Stroud's looking like he should have been the number 1 pick in the draft.
Right?
Yep, looking solid.
Hey,
Still
looking-
not a fucking pick. Still?
Yep.
Right?
As
Hey,
a rookie for that team?
Super quick, in Matt's defense, JD, he's the only one in this room that's played with professional athletes.
This is true.
Yeah.
They were a few years before they were professional, but they were. It's accurate. But for the Texans, Nico Collins, 7 catches, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. They got Tank Dell, a really good-looking young rookie wide receiver. Their offensive line isn't blocking very well for the running game, but other than that, this team is playing really fucking hard. D'Amico Ryans has them prepped.
I really thought they were going to be just shit all year. It is constantly underperforming, especially when you get he was the number 2 pick. Quarterbacks back to back. Like, you got high expectations, but somehow when you're number 2, no one ever talks about you,
Yeah,
right?
the pressure's never quite as high.
Right. He's out there looking absolutely legit.
Yep.
And this team it's kind of scary at this point. Like, you cannot look down on them one bit.
No. D'Amico Ryans is a great defensive coordinator, and the offense that they're running is just clicking.
Their 2 losses, they looked good in
Yes.
their 2 losses.
Yes.
So,
No, it's been very impressive to watch them play, because, I was sure that their season was just going to be absolutely brutal.
And the Steelers just falling apart. I mean, injuries, everything.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
also,
man.
we all thought that Kenny Pickett was going to kind of keep
Yeah.
progressing.
Well, I just figured he'd get to, mid-range
Yeah.
NFL quarterback, and just doing that would
Right.
lift that offense
The
up a bit.
15th best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
right. You got, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. If he
Najee
could-
Harris.
And
Najee
Deontay's
Harris.
out right now, got that hamstring injury.
Yeah.
Which it hurts, but
Right.
you still have a lot of other weapons on that team. Nothing is working for them.
Well, today he got sacked 5 times and hit 14 times before he was out of the game. So
This is true.
Yeah.
The team that it surprises me, but they are the 2 teams that are going to be competing for the AFC North. The Ravens went to Cleveland today and just beat the dog shit out of the, the Browns. Granted, this was without the Browns starting quarterback. They had a rookie starting for him today, Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Yeah.
But for the Ravens, didn't even need a whole lot of Lamar Jackson. 187 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Those 2 touchdowns went to Mark Andrews. Running game, not doing a lot still.
But Lamar Jackson did help himself to a couple
He did,
rushing
yeah.
touchdowns.
He absolutely did. And for the Browns, just nothing.
well, they shut down their
really.
rushing game.
Oh, yeah. The rushing game was shut down. Amari Cooper, I think, had 1 catch. I mean, this was just a bad game. And this Browns defense is legit.
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
So-
that was how lopsided it was, just based on how poorly the Browns defense played, was surprising. I understand that their offense not working well with your quarterback who's still trying to figure his way back, and then you bring in someone who was, undrafted or whatever. Yeah. So,
It's going to be a little rough. The Ravens have been missing a lot of players because of injury, and for them to pull together and beat a team down like this is really impressive to me. But John Harbaugh is an excellent coach. I forgot to write down the final score of the Bills-Dolphins game. 48 to 20?
Yep.
The Dolphins, the combined score of the two teams almost equaled what they scored last week. Unfortunately, they were on the losing end of it this time. Tua came back down to earth, 282 yards passing, 1 interception, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble.
But I'm sure Tariq and Waddle both had touchdowns, right?
Nope. Devon Achane did have himself another game, though.
yeah.
101 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns on 9 carries.
And Mostert, they gave 7 carries for 9 yards.
Yeah.
A-Chain seems like he's playing himself into an RB1. It's new. It's new. It's fresh. He's got the new car smell to him. But hey, if he's going to compete like that, great. Good for them.
Absolutely. But for the Bills, Josh Allen, 320 yards passing, 4 touchdown passes, and another rushing touchdown. And Stephon Diggs, 6 catches, 120 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
And they totally let off the brakes.
And they didn't even have to run the ball in this. Their leading rusher was Murray with 32 yards.
Well, it's just easier if you just sail it through the air.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You don't have to run the ball if you just threw a 70-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah.
And this
Way
is
easier that way.
This is speculative. I'm not saying they could have gotten to 70, but midway through the third quarter, it was just and we're cruising to the.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah, whereas last week the Dolphins didn't give up till 5 minutes left in the game.
And I can understand the Bills saying, "All right, we're murdering you." Last week you ran train. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna keep everyone in. We're gonna keep this up. But why? Right? Dolphins made a big statement. I don't disagree with it. But this week I actually like the way that the Bills handled it, which was, no, we're gonna go ahead and everything is victory formation for the second half.
They're up by 4 scores going into the fourth. What are they proving at this point?
Yeah, right. So go ahead and let off the gas. It's okay. We didn't need to see it again. You're not trying to rub their noses in it. Don't get anyone hurt. So
Well, I think Mike McDaniel is smarter than this, but when your offense is on the field that many times during a game last week, you're showing the entire fucking playbook. Why would you do that when it's totally unnecessary?
Yeah.
Whereas the Bills are all right, we've done what we need to do. We can throttle it back now, which is the smart move, I think.
Yep, especially because you're going to want to rest up because you're about to hop on a plane.
Yep.
Right? It's going to be a tough week for the Bills trying to catch up on their sleep. Get out right. You're missing out on some practice.
And Sean McDermott's not a masochist.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I do get, I get McDaniel going I want to fuck the Broncos hard. They wouldn't even give me an interview. Fuck them. I totally get that.
I used to hold their balls.
I used to hold their balls. Sure, yeah.
I played with them for way too long.
I almost forgot to bring this up. Last week, unfortunately, for the second week in a row,
I wasn't going to say
Scotty Stats had the worst record on his pick'em. So the Patriots koozie must come out. Whoever has the worst of the week on the picks has to have the koozie of their least favorite team out. So there is the Pats koozie for Scotty. Let's see. The Rams went to Indianapolis, beat the Colts 29-23. I'm still not sure what this Rams team is. I'm not sure what the Colts team is, to be quite honest, either.
Colts are better than I thought they'd be.
They are. The Rams' record is better than I thought it would be, but I still don't know exactly who they've played that would make this worth anything. At this
Anthony Richardson is looking like he belongs, which is good.
If it wasn't for C.J. Stroud, they'd be talking about him.
Probably. But he wasn't there last week, and it showed. And having him back, so that, when you see the impact that much from quarterback, that's right. So good pick. They're out there playing tough. You got to respect that. If you're an Indy fan, you're not gonna win it all this year, but you like the direction you were going, especially waffling on quarterbacks for how long.
Absolutely.
You got a kid who looks like he can be the guy.
Yep.
So
he did have 200 yards passing today with 2 touchdowns, another 56 on the ground, and another touchdown there. For the Rams, though, Stafford 300 yards passing and a touchdown, and Puka Nacua at this point he's at 39 catches for the first 4 games of his career,
and then just got his first touchdown.
Also had 163 yards receiving. Little fun thing though here. They had to go to overtime to win this game, which they would not have had to had their kicker, Brett Maher, not missed 2 field goals. And if you're wondering, why have I heard that name before? Why is a name of a kicker and missing kicks sticking in my head so much? That's because for the last 3 weeks of the season last year, 2 of them in the playoffs, missed 6 extra points for the Cowboys. How is he still kicking in the NFL?
The talent level is so varied when it comes to kickers. Like, there are elite kickers out there. And then you have, like, it seems like average. And I don't understand, like, that seems like the kind of thing you're not likely to get hurt. You can build that skill after playing soccer for a long time. You know? Why is it such a wide stretch of talent when you hit the NFL?
And building off that, it's kind of comical that Justin Tucker missed a 63-yard field goal last week, and everyone's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
You know, like,
Because he's one of the 3
Right.
up
Yeah.
there.
Is he done with? Is he
Did
over
he
with?
miss his touch?
Yeah.
Oh my God! You can only hit 59-yarders now. Whatever they're gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just today, like, we saw at least 3 or 4 missed within the 50.
Yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
close, you know? It was like, oh.
Yeah, just awful. Tampa Bay went into New Orleans and beat the Saints down 26-9. Baker Mayfield having a nice start to his season. He had 246 yards today, 3 touchdowns. Mike Evans did get hurt, pulled a hamstring, so he had to leave, but Godwin came in, 8 catches for 114. Big story here is what their defense did to the Saints, though.
Yeah.
Carr had 127 yards passing. That's it. Leading receiver was Thomas with 4 catches for 53 yards. Chris Olave, their stud second-year receiver, 1 catch, 4 yards.
Yeah.
Now, it makes me wonder if the plays that were running just weren't deep routes because his shoulder isn't back to where it needed to be. And that's what limited, because instead of having those 2 wide receivers, Thomas and Olave, being a little bit further out, playing closer in, it's easier to defend.
If it's a detriment to your offense that much, why are you not just putting Jameis in? If his arm is in that bad a shape.
Especially when you had Kamara back.
Yeah.
If you look at Kamara's our fantasy league, we got bonuses all over the place. Kamara was getting catches left and right. He had his 20-something fantasy points in our league was mostly because of catches.
Yep.
But this guy's fantastic. He's been healthy. He was suspended.
Yep.
It's not like he's coming off an injury, and he's out there doing short routes. You could have done that with Jameis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely could have. But I don't want to take away from what the Bucs have been doing this beginning of the season. They have really impressed me thus far.
Yeah, they're way better than I expected, by
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
When
I thought this was the Saints division at the beginning of the season. At this
Yeah.
point, it's looking like it's the Bucs again.
Yeah.
when Jensen was hurt and out for the season, and it's like, oh my God, a great center, and now you got Baker Mayfield. Oh, this is not going to be good.
Who apparently has gone back to acting like he's a quarterback.
Act like a quarterback. Give him State Farm
He
again,
is
baby.
still the best actor in the NFL.
100%. Getting that State Farm money. But also, like, if Cleveland was the problem and having better coaching and overall better team around him is showing his talent, there's no surprise there. When you're an elite quarterback, you show off your elite skills on lesser teams. When you're a mid to less quarterback, you need to be on a better team. So here you are. You put better squad around, and he's living up to, I wouldn't say the potential everyone thought, but
Plus, he's the only only quarterback I know of that played for 4 different teams in a calendar year.
And this truly feels like the
fucking
first
rough.
franchise.
I know,
that's like,
right?
We're not going to keep you on a short leash, like sink or swim,
Right,
but
right.
go for it.
Yeah,
like,
that's
let's
true.
see what
Yeah.
happens.
Like, Trask is not better than you.
Yeah. Right.
Just go out and play.
Yeah.
He's playing like a QB1, and I think that's and he deserves the spot. And I think that's a nice story.
And he's
for
not
sure.
like constantly going like, okay, who's coming up behind me?
Yep,
Who's coming,
yep.
No, he's still looking
Like,
downfield.
what-
he's still
what team
trying
I
to
get
make
traded
plays.
to next?
I'm not
you
worried
know?
about my agent calling, like, pack your bags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
He might have actually unpacked this time.
Yeah.
Okay, JD, we'll get to your team now. The Commies rolled into
Man.
Philadelphia, and the almost upset of the day, I guess.
Oh, shit,
The
JD
Eagles
must've been
34,
sweating.
Commies 31. Sam Howell had a pretty good game today. 290 yards passing and a touchdown. McLaurin had 8 catches for 85 yards
Real quick,
and a fumble recovered for a touchdown.
It's real impressive that he had those kind of yards from his back.
Yeah. Fun fact, coming into the game, he was on pace for 107 sacks this year, which would be very impressive because the most ever given up by a team in a year is when David Carr was playing for the Texans and got sacked 76 times. But good news, only sacked 5 times today, so now it's only a pace of 102 sacks for the season.
Closing the
so
gap.
it's getting better.
Sure.
For the Eagles, consistency in the passing game, maybe not, but big play, yes. A lot of it.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown finally got going. 9 catches for 175 and 2 touchdowns. When this team is offensively clicking, it's almost unstoppable. They have too much of between the running game, the wide receivers Goddard has barely been throwing the ball this year, and he's one of the top tight ends, receiving-wise, in the NFL. So this team has not even come close to hitting its
But that
peak.
Commies defense was chipping away at him. Every team would be watching tape on that,
Real quick, Joey's not going to love this. I still think the Eagles are great, but it seems like Jalen Hurts hasn't,
He hasn't grown.
so far,
It's if at all, it's like a little bit.
his most consistent play this season has been a quarterback sneak. He doesn't seem like he's found his rhythm quite yet.
I'm not taking anything away from Jalen Hurts' talent because he still threw for 300 yards and a couple touchdowns, and they won, by the way. But the loss of Shane Steichen to the Colts, who has helped Anthony Richardson already develop much faster than I thought he was going to, and the job that he did last year with Jalen Hurts, and the job he did with Justin Herbert, someone needs to go learn from Steichen what it is that he's doing to get these quarterbacks trained up so well, because he is fucking great at developing them.
Well, and same for the defensive coordinator. They don't look as strong as they did last year,
They also lost quite a bit. They lost a lot of linebackers.
Injuries, and that's true.
And free agency. The defensive line, I think, is still just the amount of guys they can rotate in.
Well,
Jalen Carter
Jalen
looks
is-
like a
Yes.
Yeah.
looks like he really should have been one of the top picks in the draft.
Yeah.
But I still say also he was drafted into the perfect place. Jalen Carter was, because he needed a place where there was leaders on that team, veterans that could show him how to be a professional and how to overcome the mistakes he made leading up to the draft.
Oh yeah. It's. They're going to take it. How far will they go? It depends on how they develop the next few games, I think.
Yeah, JD, I think the biggest problem for those of y'all that are listening to the podcast, feel free to join us on Sunday nights. We like to interact with the people in the chat room also with us, and JD is bringing the fact that they're kind of failing to produce in the red zone.
Oh
as far
yeah,
as
we're
the
live on
Eagles
YouTube
go.
right now. Yeah.
But and you're right, they are having a problem in the red zone. But again, when you're capable of these big of plays, it's going to cover up a lot of mistakes, at least early on.
Yeah.
They need to get those things fixed. But again,
But you can't
a
rely
lot
on
of veteran
those.
leadership. They'll get these issues fixed.
And I agree with you, but if they were in the AFC, the Eagles might be 500 right now instead of 3-1.
Well, that depends on which division in the
Yeah.
AFC. If they were in the South, they'd be undefeated.
Yeah.
One other quick note about that game is that the Commies had it in sights to win. They kicked an extra point to tie it up going into the half.
I would have gone for
the
2.
game.
Oh,
Should've gone
absolutely.
I'd have gone for 2.
Yeah.
personally.
Had they gone for 2 to win that game, it was their decision to make. They decided to risk giving Philadelphia the ball again,
Yep.
and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
I agree completely. I don't always think you should go for 2 at the end of the game, but in that situation, you're up against the Eagles.
When you're the Commies against the Eagles, and you
You're
tie
up
it,
against
go
the
ahead
Eagles,
and do it.
You're on the road, fuck it.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead and try. Okay, the Raiders and the Chargers. The game was closer than it appeared by the score. I'm sorry, the game was not as
Not
close as it
yeah.
appeared by the score. The Raiders made a nice comeback because of an injury to Herbert's left hand that they were talking about for the rest of the game. The biggest thing to me about this, Aiden O'Connell not ready for prime time.
No.
Nor was he mentally prepared for
I
that.
don't think
you
so.
know?
Yeah.
But Khalil Mack, 6 sacks in this game.
Oh my God.
That is
Yeah.
one off the all-time record.
Hey, I mean, O'Connell, again, yes, the sacks, but also he had 3 fumbles. It was pretty ugly for him. It was uglier than his mustache, that's for sure.
And he's got an ugly mustache.
It's really bad. Yeah, that's candy in a van bad.
Yeah. For the Chargers, no shit, Matt, they need their top 5 running back back. They need Austin Eckler back. He seems to be an
Tends to
engine that
help.
really moves this offense along. They ran the ball fairly well today. Kelly had 65 yards. Not a big game for them production-wise. They were up pretty good by, I think, 2 scores by the first half. Just kind of carried it through that way. That defense and the sacks.
But also, that game started really, really chippy.
Yes.
That rivalry is still going strong.
One of the dumbest
And yeah,
late hits I've seen in a while.
Oh yeah,
Where
Herbert
the
going out of
defensive
bounds.
lineman-
And I forgot which Raider
no.
it was.
Even Max Crosby, who wasn't the guy who got the
Yeah.
penalty, was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah. late hit going out of bounds. Right by the Chargers bench. So they're
Yeah.
rushing in there.
Yeah.
Like, that also could have gone really bad for the Chargers, just like beating the shit out of the guy on the sideline.
And then getting a bunch of guys suspended for a week
Yep.
or two.
Right. So just one guy was suspended, but there was still a bunch of other chippy stuff going on. It was pretty sad.
It's kind of reminiscent of like the '80s Raiders.
Yeah. Oh, there was also a body slam at one point.
But also,
Yes.
those Raiders would
That
win
was
games.
technically a tackle. I'm okay with that one.
Forward progress had stopped. They were holding him up in the air on their shoulders, and they pulled a WWE.
Yeah, they snapped him down. They didn't let him drop.
It's football.
Yeah.
It's one thing like Derwin James hit on Kelsey last year, where it was that fast.
Yeah. Yeah, we had plenty of time. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a
Oh,
little different.
it was totally flag worthy. Yeah.
Let's see. In the case of, I guess the Cowboys were overlooking the Cardinals last week. The Patriots went to Dallas, and Bill Belichick just got the worst beating of his coaching career.
Regular season.
Regular season. Cowboys won 38-3. It was bad enough that Bailey Zappi was put back in to be the quarterback
Yeah.
at one point.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really a quarterback controversy. I don't think Zappi's the answer.
No, I don't
Well,
think so. Yeah.
I mean, last season, Zappi came in when Mac Jones was
Like,
hurt.
he looked like he
and
might
had
be the
was it
starter.
3 games, and he
Yeah.
looked pretty solid.
Yeah.
But Mac Jones getting benched. I don't know that benching him was. I don't know that he was the problem out there.
Yeah, that Cowboys defense was the problem for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, even without
Parsons was out
Diggs.
for
4 plays.
yeah, and it's like, oh, he's back. You just you didn't take advantage when he was gone. So yeah.
For the Cowboys, they did not have to do much today. Dak had 261 yards passing and a touchdown. Pollard just 47 yards rushing. Ferguson, tight end, was their leading receiver with 7 for 77. And that's because their defense had 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and 2 touchdowns themselves. When you get that from your defense, your offense doesn't have to do a whole lot. Let's
Yeah.
just be honest here.
They're like, thanks for the break, boys. Yeah.
Cowboys, definitely top team in the NFC. Where they would fit in the AFC, I still think they'd probably be top 6.
Their defense
yeah.
is really what keeps them strong. Their offense is good, not great.
Has the possibility to be great.
Sure.
But what does that say when you kind of speculate and shrug your shoulders? Top 6, maybe AFC when Cowboys.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Definitely top 6 AFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they would be. They would be a playoff team in the AFC.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Them and the Eagles
Yeah.
would be absolutely. The rest of the NFC, God only knows. But except for the 49ers, of course. We'll talk
Yeah,
about that
okay,
next.
yeah.
But yeah, for the Cowboys overall, just real big comeback. And their practice sucked this week after the Cardinals beat them. But those very same Cardinals went to San Francisco today. They played hard. I realize that sounds kind of wishy-washy to say about a 35-16
Mom.
loss, but Dobbs, 265 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Hollywood Brown, 7 catches for 96. And even Connor got 52 yards rushing, which is not a lot, but against that 49ers defense, it sure as shit is.
Yeah.
And the 49ers, Purdy had 283 yards. It seemed like he had way more than that for 1 touchdown. Ayuk, 6 catches for 148. And the big story, McCaffrey, 106 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, 7 catches for 71 yards and another touchdown.
That one where he leapt over to get in the end
Oh,
zone.
yeah.
so pretty.
This team, I'm not saying that Brock Purdy is not a very good NFL quarterback, but at this point, I'm struggling. I could think of Zach Wilson would probably still be trash. It's kind of a mean, low blow.
If you put a QB in.
But I'm trying to think of a QB.
Desmond Ritter's not going to help out.
No.
Yeah.
But, we were discussing before the show, Justin Fields and some of these other guys that have really rough starts to the season. You put Russell Wilson or Justin Fields or someone like that in that offense with those guys to throw to, and with McCaffrey just getting 100 yards per game, basically, at this point,
Yep.
that offense is so good.
So
You could just not play Debo Samuel because he was hurt. And he was active for the game, but it's like, you know what? Maybe we just don't give you a lot of
Hey,
lot of
Kittle,
plays.
here's one catch.
So-
yeah.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
I think this guy's a good quarterback too, but throw Jared Goff on that team.
Oh.
You know, like
I think
Yeah.
he'd be really good on that
yeah.
team, actually.
Okay,
yeah.
I think that'd be scary.
Jared Goff got a real bad rap for a long time because of he had some pretty epic collapses with the Rams, but that when they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots, the entire team was bad in that game.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time being too harsh on him. So that was all of today's games and Thursdays. Overall, it was a really fun day of football. It sucked to watch my team lose the way they did, but you know what?
No, it didn't.
Just kind of happens that way sometimes.
You saw the progress, man.
There was progress made, and right now we have the first 2 picks in the draft, which is something.
Sure.
It's not a good thing, but it's something. All right, we are going to go into our first mid-show side bit. We're
Yeah.
going to do our un-FL.
Right, where we talk about things that are not NFL related because other things happen outside. This segment is not brought to you by Knob Creek, but it could be.
And also, those of you that ever had Knob Creek, give it a shot. Real tasty.
Anyway, so for NFL,
Don't mind if I do.
I do not. I'm not going to talk too long about the merger of the XFL and the USFL. Well, I do think that that's a great option because you're going to take 2 8-league teams and merge them together, and hopefully you wind up with maybe 12. You don't need all 16, but we can get better talent coalescing around into one league. I like that a lot. I don't want to talk about the fact that it's not sports related. There was the article about a woman who was standing bottomless in line waiting to get on Spirit Airline
we all have.
in Florida. Spirit.
Why is it always
Get your
Florida?
shit together. I'm not going to talk too much about Damian Lillard going to the Bucks.
It'd be nice for him to finally get a championship.
The fact that the Bucks now no longer have any first round picks for the next 7 years. Nor am I going to
impressive.
talk about the fact that this is very reminiscent of one Clyde Drexler leaving the Trailblazers to join one
Hakeem.
fantastically talented big man in Hakeem Olajuwon, especially after the Rockets won a championship and then Drexler joined and they won another one. I don't know, maybe. We'll see. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the Eagles' unstoppable play in the tush push or brotherly shove, as it's being called.
Oh, that's good.
the city of brotherly shove.
Or
That
we
is
could
awesome.
also potentially call it the booty bump or the fanny force or the anal attack, the derriere drive, the pooper push, the rump rush, the cheeky sneaky, or run these buns. I don't want to talk about those things.
Run these buns.
I want to talk about those things.
It also doesn't hurt that Hurts can squat a
You know,
dump
the
truck.
cheeky sneaky is a great thing to call it if they're playing in England.
Oh,
You cheeky bastard.
There it is. I actually do want to talk
Would that
about.
be the dog's bollocks at that point?
I want to talk about high school football.
All right.
This is the team out of Iowa, the Williamsburg Raiders. They started the game with a 27-0 lead.
Ooh.
are they a feeder school for the Chicago Bears?
4 touchdowns were scored by a single player, Race Heitman.
I don't see race.
By the way, he's a
Neither did anyone
defensive.
else, apparently.
By the way, he's a defensive player.
Oh, nice.
Oh shit!
He was untouched on all 4 of these. Their offense never saw the field, and he scored 4 touchdowns, and they missed 1 extra kick.
How the fuck is that possible?
It started off with a 53-yard punt return.
Nice.
Then he intercepted 2 times for a 20-yard and a 25-yard return. Then a 43-yard punt return.
Jesus.
That's impressive.
They started 27-0. They ended up winning 61-6.
How many scholarship offers that kid already have?
This guy didn't get maybe there was like a grazing hand, but I was watching. I was like, he didn't get touched.
Oh my god.
4 touchdowns before his own offense took the field.
Are we sure he's not really a 24-year-old?
It's possible. Pretty ugly if you're the opposing team. Ugly enough that I didn't even bother to write your name down. You don't deserve it. Race Heitman.
Whoever raised did it too. Fuck
I hope your parents have to pay money to this kid for any NIL contracts. That's how badly he beat you. Okay. So Race Heitman, 4 touchdowns
Wow.
as a defensive player.
That's fucking cool.
That is
so
awesome.
cool.
That's the NFL.
That is awesome.
And you're welcome
I love
for
it.
for the pooper push.
That
and
kid
the,
is gonna get so much pussy.
run these bonds.
Jesus Christ.
Keep that list. I love that
Yeah,
list.
we need to keep adding to that list. That's kind of like last year when we were talking about all the things Christian McCaffrey can do.
Oh my God.
But there's like that discussion was going on for the past couple weeks about how it arguably could get it should get banned by the NFL because it's this like okay, if it's unstoppable from 1 yard, if it's unstoppable from 3 yards, then they pretty much only have to do that every single time. That being said, other teams are like they've tried this. Like CJ Stroud went on record, he was like, I got my ass kicked. They tried doing that, and like they got the 1 yard, and he was like, guys, this
Not
is bad.
fucking worth it.
It's
Yeah.
like he was beat up in there, which means that Philadelphia's doing it right.
Well, number one, they have likely the top center in the game. They have one of the best offensive lines in the game. They got a quarterback that can squat something like 800 fucking pounds. He's not built like most quarterbacks.
Right. So it's definitely a unique thing that works for them, but if you don't do it right, then it's not going to work for you. So because one team
Yeah.
has mastered it, we're going to talk about banning it. You know?
No, fuck that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I know there's also like on the defensive side, you're not allowed to do that either. You can't push one of your own men into someone else. Like unless it's by
But you're not allowed to
accident.
pull them into an end zone or anything like that either. You have to be pushing them
Yeah,
from
well,
behind.
that's true. Yeah.
It's a very specific thing with that.
But yeah, like because they're really good at it, we
Right.
should not let them do it.
Right.
That's fucking
No.
stupid.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know.
Right.
No.
That being said, if they got so good that they're always getting 3 yards, is that going to be boring football to watch? Yep.
That would be the reason why they make it illegal.
But again,
That's the biggest reason why the NFL makes lots of things illegal.
if only,
Yeah.
if
Did you
only
just
one,
make our game more
Right.
boring for people to
Yeah,
watch?
yeah,
Because we're
yeah.
not having
right.
that.
But if only one team can do it, and no one else can be that successful at it,
JD, if they ban that, they should ban Pat Mahomes with the 2-minute drill because he's good at it.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of the
That
same.
boy good.
Yeah.
All right. For just the worst,
Or ban Justin Tucker from kicking field goals over 50 yards.
Well, Joey, he missed one last week for 63. He's washed.
for just the worst, I kind of wanted to do the Brett Maher missing more kicks,
yeah.
but I got to go back to Coy Walker. This is the second year in a row where he's had something asinine that he did against the Lions that cost his team. Last year, he got kicked out because a trainer was trying to go check on a player and he pushed the fucking trainer.
Yep.
Now you try something that everyone that plays football knows you can't do that.
The trainer thing, I was watching that clip again, and I can understand in the moment where, you're on the field and you're just amped, and someone's trying to push in front of you, and you're like, get out of here. But at the same time, like, they're at a different the play is stopped. Like your adrenaline, as you're standing there watching a guy down on the ground,
Yep.
and someone's trying to get in front of you, like you're automatically thinking that you're going to be in a fight. Like,
Yep.
can you switch that off easily? I don't know. But boy, if you keep making mistakes, no, it's you. I'm sorry. Like
Yep.
if you're not,
And I
if
don't
your
wanna
head is
take
not in
away
the
from
game
this
in the
guy.
wrong way,
This
yeah.
is an athletic,
Yeah.
good young linebacker. He's these boneheaded plays. You only get to do those for so long before the team's
Yeah.
like, and you're not on the field now because we can't trust
Well,
you.
like, what's next? He's gonna leg stomp somebody,
Right.
Like, I can see that happening for him next,
Yeah, in order to be able to get away with that kind of stuff, you've got to be a defensive lineman for the Lions and just be really good.
No.
God, that guy was an asshole.
You got to where I was going to go.
Took a while, but I got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, for my just the worst this week, Coy Walker. Come on, man. You know better than that, and you're a better player than that. So what's more important than do it to me? You have
Yeah.
any just the worst?
I do not.
Okay.
I had a really good football day.
I almost don't want to bring it up, but I'm going to, and it's going to be
Chandler Jones.
It's going to be the Raiders
Yeah.
and Chandler Jones because he clearly has something going on, right?
Yep.
He's struggling mentally, and they release him, and I get that they're keeping him, and you got to replace him and all those things, but the fact that this could be CTE related, and you're out of here, bud, which means all the help that the team can offer you is now no longer available.
Now, as a vested veteran, I think he still has aspects of the NFLPA that will help him out.
Yeah.
But the team doctors,
the
I'm sure
team-
they're fucking amazing. You know?
Right, exactly. Like everything you're going to get saying, we're going to get him the help he needs. We believe in him, instead of just saying we're washing our hands.
Yep.
Now there could be other awful things that he's done or awful things that he's
That we
said.
don't know.
that
Yeah.
we don't know. But the visibility of it, especially when there's a good chance that it's CTE related,
Yep.
that's where you step up and do better. That decision is worse than Michael's haircut. Al Michael's haircut.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with that. Chris, I don't know what about the high school ref that tore a helmet off a kid and threw him out of a game.
What the fuck?
I will
Oh.
look into that, though.
Oh no, yeah. The clip.
Wait, the ref took the helmet off the
So
player?
this is what happened. Defensive player, as the play is happening, he's backing up, and he backs up into the ref, right? And then he
So
kind of
unknowingly moved back into a.
he kind of moves to the side a little bit. He
Well, if you're
moves,
running backwards,
he,
the ref job to get the fuck out of the way.
he moves to his
Goddamn
left
right.
side a little bit, but then the play's going to the right. So as he turns to the right, he turns directly into the ref, and then as the ref is tangling and he's like trying to push away, the ref grabs the helmet and rips the helmet off of him, right? And then the kid stumbles away, and then there's some arguing what the fuck, and then the ref goes whoop, flag,
The same one.
the same ref.
Oh, what a
Wow.
dick. Do you know what school it was, Chris?
Oh, it's pretty ugly.
That was a Texas game? That guy's not going to be a ref for long.
Oh,
One other thing I want to bring up, it's not really anything that's happened, it's just talk on the sports radio. And that's this talk that for some reason the Vikings are going to trade Kirk Cousins.
it's
It's so stupid to me.
well, and
wait,
specific
what?
to the Jets.
Specific to the Jets, because it's been brought up, if they traded for Kirk Cousins, they can still have a quarterback this year because he's in the last year of his contract. But it's all right, Kirk Cousins is not the Vikings' problem.
No.
Their defense is their problem.
No. Kirk Cousins is hitting every target available to him. Right? He's got Jefferson, he's got Addison out there,
Yep.
he's got Hawkinson. Madison as the running back is looking real good. They need a defense.
Yeah.
Why
So
would they get rid of him?
I realize it's just sports talk trying to come up with something to get people talking.
Probably.
But it's a really dumb point.
And especially
And I
this
didn't
season,
appreciate
look at his
it.
fucking stats. I'm come on.
Yeah,
you
the
know?
guy that was before this game was on pace for 6,000 yards. We're going to trade him because he's the issue.
Yeah.
Just stupid to me.
I talked about it for way too long in a preseason show. I think he's underrated. I think he's a fine quarterback. It's just
I have a 15-second just the worst. How Taylor Swift has now become part of football analysis.
I was hoping
Well,
that was going to bring it up.
No, the NFL is going to keep harping on it to try to get as many new
And that-
fans as they can. But as you brought up
Also,
earlier,
that's not a shot against Taylor Swift. It just she has no relevance to.
It's the end up going, ooh, that gets clicks.
Yeah.
Put her on.
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's commercials for her concert. Now, those were
Yeah.
never on
So,
before,
if there's any Swifties listening, that wasn't against Tay Tay. Yeah, I don't need to see it on SportsCenter.
No, it's the NFL star chasing
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
look at this whole new demographic we can bring in
Yeah.
by advertising towards that fan base.
Okay, I do have it just the worst. You reminded me of something
Whitney,
else.
Texas versus Madison.
Yeah, it's Dallas.
I'll be.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Dallas?
Yeah, just like
Ah.
that. It was pretty fucking egregious.
Okay.
The NFL rolling out that Toy Story game this morning, and I was so excited to see it because I love cheesy little things like that. Toy Story's a great fucking franchise. So fucking glitchy and buggy. I was like, how do you have all this money and you do this, you invest it, you work with Disney, you got all this shit together, and it looks fucking like shit? And they fixed some things as the game went on, but it was like, come on, you know?
Especially when you can test that
Yeah.
with how many games?
Every preseason game.
You can go back in time.
It's all
and-
AI.
Well, yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
every game ever
Yeah.
they could do it, you know?
That's
you
a
would
good
think,
point.
yeah.
All right.
And I'm sure they ran tests, ad nauseum, and it was like, okay, it's perfect, we got it. And then nothing. Fuck it all, janky, just dumb. Because I was looking forward to it,
Okay. Time for Squeak Streaks.
Okay, so next week, normally I give you something that's not going to happen. Next week I'm going to give you something more outlandish. This one I actually have faith in. So far in their season, the Ravens have scored 25, 27, 19, and 28 points respectively. They're playing the Steelers this upcoming week. They will continue their streak of scoring more than 17 points in a game this upcoming week. I actually think that one's going to happen.
I think so too.
Put
Okay.
me on for
Yeah.
that one.
Okay.
All right.
And you said you had because today McCaffrey for the 49ers broke the 49ers team record for consecutive games with a touchdown. It was held by Jerry Rice previously. He did it in 1987. This is last season and this season, obviously, for McCaffrey combining together to do it. But still really impressive. And it's 13 straight so far. But the great Scott Hunter has a trivia question for us.
So, I think McCaffrey will likely get it, but as it stands right now, the record are there's 2 players in NFL history that have scored a touchdown in 15 consecutive games, and I want to see if any of you 3 could name those 2
Okay,
players.
say it again.
There are 2 players in NFL history that have scored a touchdown in 15 consecutive games.
So Jerry Rice was at 13,
Yes.
and then McCaffrey just tied it.
Yes. But there's 2 players.
Chris,
15
JD, don't Google it. Don't cheat.
Now, earlier, Eric did give us one hint. He said one player is white.
Wait, is this a trick? Is white part of
So,
his name?
as far as
Okay,
that
okay.
player goes, I have 2 thoughts.
He's Caucasian.
I have 2 thoughts. The first was I was thinking maybe Zonka for the Dolphins back in the day.
Great guess, but no.
But
Syracuse alum.
then I thought a little more, and I thought about teams that ran the shit out of the ball in the 80s. I'm going to go with John Riggins.
Nice. Well done. Well done.
Okay.
All right.
For the other one, my only guess that I could think of would be LT.
Nope.
Danian Tomlinson. Nope. All right. Because again, I'm trying to think of guys that scored a shit ton of touchdowns on the ground.
Can I get one more clue?
Yes, he was also a great actor in his time.
Seriously?
Commercials. Yes.
O.J.
That's it.
Simpson?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, jeez.
Huh.
Wait, so really we're all banking on Christian McCaffrey of breaking an O.J. Simpson record?
That is correct.
All right. Okay, let's go. Let's
15
go, McCaffrey.
games, 3 murders.
Okay. So, now we got to get into, because we half-ass everything here, next week's picks.
Hey.
Starts off with a Thursday game where my beloved Chicago Bears are traveling to play the Commies in Washington. I don't know how, but I think the Bears lose this.
I think the Commies
We
defense-
cannot stop anyone on defense,
Yeah.
even if our offense is playing well.
And the commies look pretty good today.
Yep. So I got to say the Commies win that game. That's my unfortunate guess.
I didn't even have to think about it. Commies. Yeah.
Put me down for the Bears.
Oh,
All
Okay, I
right.
like it.
All right.
I like it.
All right.
you going with the Commies?
I'm going with the Commies. I think their defense keeps the Bears in check. Even if the Bears play at this play this level of quality, the defense is gonna hold them back for sure.
Early Sunday morning, even earlier if you live on the West Coast. Jacksonville takes on Buffalo in England. I still say Buffalo wins this. I don't care if Jacksonville's been there all week or not.
I'd like to pick Jacksonville. That'd be a nice upset for them and their second home. But I don't see it happening.
I think Jacksonville makes it a little scary, but I don't think they have enough offensive threat.
Yeah, me neither.
It's the
Yeah.
Bills. Even if it's a low-scoring game, the Bills will be in control of it.
Yeah. One way or another, the Bills will win this game. So, yeah.
JD, really? Bears beat the Commanders? Or were you going to type wish? The Bears wish they could win.
Ah, thanks. Appreciate that. All right. Then we have Houston traveling to Atlanta as the first of the 1 o'clock games. Given what I've seen out of Houston these first few weeks and how bad Ritter has looked against some of these teams, I have to pick Houston to win this one on the road.
I'm going Houston too, but I think they rush for nearly 200 yards.
Really?
I think they just tear holes through that Atlanta D. Yep.
I don't know what the Falcons could do with Desmond Ritter at the helm to stop
he
Texas.
looks lost out there.
Right. Every time it looks like they've got, I think they can be an upset. Certain games, just like the Texans are going to be that same thing all season. The Texans are building themselves into at least a complete team with you can understand where their weaknesses lie. Right. The Falcons are so up and so down. what Texas is doing right now is they're like really building this nice consistent play. It's theirs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts is going to get a 10 yards of separation and watch the Texans win from his lazy boy.
Yeah. The bubble around Kyle Pitts
Yeah.
is 40 yards. You know.
Okay, Carolina travels to Detroit. There's another one. I don't see how Carolina pulls out a win in this game. I think Detroit takes this one pretty handily.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of actual thought process.
No, the Panthers are just they're not good enough, and the Lions, assuming the Lions can keep that same bite ankle mentality, like hopefully wins are not their detriment to their mentality.
True.
Hopefully they feel that chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Because they do so well.
And
when they
Goff
get-
is playing
I don't
really
think
well right
Campbell
now,
will
and
do
he
that.
plays really well at home in Detroit.
Yep.
So I just do not see how Carolina can slow him
I think
down.
Carolina is due for an upset game, but I don't think it's this week.
Yeah, but same. And also just stoked for Detroit, and I don't see any way they lose this game. And God, I hope they keep the train rolling.
Okay, then we have one that really I just don't know what to think. Tennessee travels to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Which Tennessee team are we going to get is the biggest question here. If they can run the ball at all, they'll be in good shape. And Indianapolis has played fairly well this season.
I
The
don't-
Anthony Richardson X Factor,
Yeah.
there's a lot of weirdness going on with this game.
I'm going with the Colts. Kind of the same thing that the same reason that I'm going with the Texans. They're at least building some level of identity out there. You know, they got,
Really, they just got to get up by like 10, and it takes Tennessee out of the game that they want to run.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because like, you know, today Tennessee was like, all right, you finally gave Derrick Henry the ball. You know, Derrick Henry even got a passing touchdown today. Like they were just having fun out there. But the Colts seem to have their shit together, and Tennessee does not at all.
Yep. From game to game, the consistency from the Colts seems
Yeah.
to be more.
Yep.
So I go with the Colts also.
Colts, and I put me under the I don't know why umbrella, but Colts.
Yep. Yeah.
That's fair.
I don't see Tennessee having back-to-back good games all season long. I just don't see it.
Tannehill's just not.
I don't
not
think it's
playing
just
well this
him,
season.
but
There's a lot of
there's
issues,
A lot
but-
of that, yeah.
Okay, the Giants travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins team that's reeling a bit after today's loss. I think they're going to get a little bit of what will fix the ale, if you will.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Miami wins this one.
Handily. Miami wins handily. Their offense is way too strong. There's not enough offense that the Giants can put up to stay in the game. They don't have enough defense to hold Miami to less than 40. So
Yeah.
I was really hoping JD would say Giants and then wait a beat and then say just kidding.
Well, that's just mean.
Dolphins all the way.
Yeah, so the Giants are going to explode offensively for 14 points and then lose that game. Is what I'm thinking.
That makes it worse.
Yeah.
yeah,
I tell you what, they absolutely need Saquon Barkley back.
yeah.
The lack of that rushing threat.
Yeah. Yeah, just as a threat.
Matt Breida runs hard, but he's not obviously.
And
He had that
To the
one
same
really
level.
good game.
Yep.
You know?
But I also think like you've got Zeke and Ramondre splitting time in New England. You've got Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook splitting time with the
Ish.
Jets. You know, I get
For
it.
all
like,
13 carries that they're splitting because
okay.
they're down so much.
Okay, but like Zeke and Dalvin Cook are just sitting there as RB2s.
Mm-hmm.
And the Giants, it's like what do we what do we have? You know, you're gonna play the whole game about running back should get paid very little. We should have absolute studs sitting ready and waiting to play running back, but we don't because the argument is weak. So
Yes, it is.
Pay them running backs; they're worth it.
I agree. New Orleans travels to New England.
After today, it's tough.
It is. I do not see a Bill Belichick team losing after he just had that beat down occur to him. I don't see that team not being ready to rock next week. I think New England wins this one, especially because I don't think Carr's shoulder's going to be healthy, but he's still going to try to play again.
So I'm gonna bank on Carr and his shoulder being better. Without knowing the extent of the injury, but I'm gonna make my pick based on that caveat. they need. But I'm going to go with New Orleans. Kamara's got to get the ball. Thomas and Olave are good wide receivers. Taysom Hill could probably get involved a little bit more. He's not the best tight end, but he's a smart tight end. I think they're underutilizing way too much out there. I'm also banking on the dysfunction in the quarterbacks in New England. So,
Yeah.
Pats, because I think this will be one of the few weeks that Ezekiel Elliott reminds us he can still play running back.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
but Ramondre Stevenson is good.
Oh, I know.
But they're not even using him.
I know. I just think this will be like one of the few games where Zeke actually has like 80 yards and a touchdown.
I feel like the Saints are going to over-prepare for this game and do really well. Like, I think it'll be a high-scoring game. Like, I think, like, offenses for both of them are going to go off. And defenses kind of take a back seat a little bit. That's Saints. Yeah.
Okay. Baltimore travels to Pittsburgh, and if Kenny Pickett's knee is actually badly injured, this will be Mitch Trubisky starting for Pittsburgh. It really wouldn't matter which one is starting, though, because I'm taking Baltimore.
Same.
Nothing Pittsburgh has done this season,
No.
outside of that game against the Browns, where they had some defensive touchdowns, has made me think that they have anything together offensively.
They are the pin-consistent Steelers.
There you go.
Hey, there we go.
Same.
Same. All right. Joey, who you going with? Oh, I'm keeping track of yours. I want to see if you go down in flames.
Philadelphia travels to LA to take on the Rams. While the Rams have looked quite good this year so far, and Cooper Kupp will be eligible to come back off of the PUP, or the IR, I'm sorry. I see Philadelphia winning this game. One of the few offensive lines that can slow Aaron Donald down.
So I'm going to go with the Eagles, but I feel like the Rams have the ability to win this game, and Philly's going to win because the Rams lose it.
Oh.
Not saying that it's like a major mistake, but just like inconsistency all game. They're just like every time you see them like clicking and they're doing well. It would be great to see Cooper Kupp come back and be able to light it up, but even still, they've got good receivers out there. Mm-hmm. Puka Nakua's turning into an absolute star.
Yep.
Tutu Atwell's been a fine wide receiver too.
Yep.
Even if Cooper Kupp plays more of the 2 role, okay. Like, that's still pretty scary out there. So, they've got so many things. I think they're going to make the Eagles sweat.
I'm saying the Rams. Like, I think, and I've said this preseason, like, they know what to do this year. Mm-hmm. They know what to do. I think this will be a really good test of how far they go. But I think they can take the Eagles next week.
I'm also picking Rams. I think the Eagles are a better team. I just think it's going to be some kind of like mixed match of the Eagles have like a shitty fumble late in the game, and like the Rams have a anomaly play go their way. And
Brett Maher misses the field goal,
Yeah.
and the Eagles win.
So it's kind of the opposite of what Scotty was saying. Yeah.
And the I have no fucking clue what's going to occur
Oh, no.
game. The Bengals travel to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. The Bengals have looked completely lost on offense. The Cardinals have been much more competitive than I thought they were going to be coming into the season. I don't know what the Bengals do well right now. It's not throwing the ball, it's not running the ball, it's not playing defense.
Give me the Cards for the narrative.
Yeah.
They kick pretty well.
There you go. Yeah.
McPherson's pretty reliable.
Just for the narrative that the Bengals, who were a preseason favorite, are just fully struggling, and the Cardinals that were the preseason quitters, they were doing everything to make it seem like they were tanking, right? Oh, you're bringing in Josh Dobbs, he's been playing
The man who can't even buy his own jersey at your store.
Can't even buy his own jersey. He's playing good football, you know?
is.
And they're out there hustling. So just for that sake, you get my vote. Cardinals, just because I like the hustle they've given so far, you get my vote on this one.
Yeah. Also, all the same reasons as Scotty, but also I just think it would be hilarious. Cardinals.
Yeah.
I'll go with the Cardinals too.
All right. Yeah, I'm going Cards as well.
And for the next game of the, I honestly don't know what the fuck's going to happen. The Jets travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Broncos defense is bad enough. Zach Wilson might be able to get the ball to Garrett Wilson. Brees Hall might be able to have some big plays. And the Jets defense, while they're getting smoked right now, is better than they are showing in this game.
Well, you just sound bitter.
I mean,
No.
they're playing the Chiefs, you know.
Yeah, it is the Chiefs, yeah.
I mean, so getting smoked, you know, what are you going to do? But we're not paying close enough attention to find out if they're following, you know, your advice, which was, you know, maybe put the sauce on Travis Kelce a little bit, just to be a little disruptive. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe
See what
start him
happens.
at quarterback.
sure, you know? Yeah.
Can't do much worse.
He's going to be a two-way player out there, yeah.
He doesn't like older women.
I'm going Broncos. I think the offense is really reeling in the Jets, and forget the defensive part of it. The Broncos are looking a lot more consistent on offense, and that's what's going to get them there. So
All right, Mr. Unlimited is going to get a second win for the Broncos this season.
No, are you saying okay? You sound like you're picking New York.
Nope.
The Jets, because I want to see just the close-up shots of Sean Payton on the sideline. Yeah.
Denver.
That's pretty hilarious. Kansas City travels to Minnesota. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game, but I don't think Minnesota's going to be able to keep up with the Chiefs.
I agreed.
I think, no matter what Cousins does, I don't think he can throw enough touchdowns to keep up with what the Chiefs can do against his defense.
That's exactly it. Minnesota's going to spend so much time in the air, which is they're great at that, and it's going to keep the game close because they'll be able to get up the field quickly. But yeah, it's the Chiefs.
All right.
Come on.
If Taylor Swift is going to be there, put me down for the Chiefs.
I believe it's at Minnesota.
Yeah.
What's the chance that she's going to go to Minnesota?
I mean, she went to Kansas City.
It's not like she's driving herself. I'm going Minnesota. I think this will be like
Whoa!
this will be
This is
You think they're going to be 0-2 versus the NFC North this year? I'm sorry, 1-2.
1-2. 1-2.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
beat
yeah.
my Bears.
she
bad.
brings up with Kelsey on Saturday morning. He's got enough. Yeah, all right.
I
That'll-
just got a feeling. I don't
That'll
know.
be a third date. Everyone knows.
Yeah, Joey,
Travis Kelce fucks on the third date. Get ready.
No, he doesn't. He makes love.
There you go.
Yeah, Taylor
All right.
Swift doesn't fuck
Oh, hold on. If Travis Kelce shows up with no mustache,
because of the friction.
Friction.
that boy,
Oh, nice.
that boy's down to fuck, and they're definitely winning.
All right. Sunday night, Dallas travels to San Francisco, and God, I hope this is as good of a game as it should be.
I really want it to be that good of a game.
San Francisco has looked unstoppable at this point in the season. Granted, Dallas' defense is excellent.
But who do they cover?
What do you mean?
Who's Dallas actually going to cover?
Well, you get to Purdy though. That changes how quickly he's got to read.
Agreed.
But again, he can just go, you, and
Oh,
Right.
you?
Sanford can do something.
Right. But think about it. Even if you're getting hustled, you just play Debo a little bit closer.
Yep.
Right. You've got
Or the quick dump off pass to McCaffrey.
Yep, and you-
Maybe throw the ball to Kelsey a
May-
couple times.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Kittle.
Kittle. Yeah.
Kittle.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, underutilized so far this season.
But no, he's perfectly utilized. He can
As a
just
decoy?
block.
Yeah.
He can
Yeah,
just
block,
block.
that's true, yeah.
Right. He's gonna draw a defender no matter
Yeah.
what. You can't leave him open.
And he's happy just hitting people.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah.
So as good as I agree that rushing in for sure, but there's so many short options.
I
Man.
know. Well, at least the Jets didn't get blanked.
Is that a safety?
Yeah.
Wow. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Listen, this is two great defenses, two great edge rushers also in Bosa and Parsons. The injury to Diggs for Dallas, I think this is where it comes back to bite him in the ass a little bit.
Yeah, because this is the game they fucking need.
Yes, and San Francisco has had their number the last few seasons.
Yeah.
So I see San Francisco winning this one.
Put me
And
down
it's
for
not, it's going to be close in my opinion, but
It better be.
It's going to be close, and I think it's going to be a good game. But we're coming into Week 5, and as a nation, we deserve a comical, back-breaking Dak Prescott late in the game fuck up to ruin it for the boys.
Dak Prescott.
don't get it wrong. Eric hates the Cowboys.
Yeah, all right.
Dak Prescott's. He's got 2. He's going to have 2 interceptions that are his fault
The people
in this
need
game.
it.
You want like a playoff Cowboys Tony Romo crumble kind
Like
of thing.
it's they're
No,
on
it's a
the,
Dak Prescott crumble. He's done it.
That's true. Yeah.
they're on the Niners 30 with a chance to go ahead late in the game, and he throws a horrible pick into double coverage.
Do you know
Yeah.
what would be great, though?
Right.
What
I
would be
agree.
great is if it's down to the 49ers having to score with like 3 seconds left, and they run the play that the Cowboys tried in the playoffs last season, where the running back snaps the ball. But in this case, McCaffrey pulls it off beautifully, and they win.
That'd
Or-
be fantastic.
Or like Dallas has an offsides to get the Niners into field goal range,
Oh.
and then they kick the field goal and fucking
Didn't that happen 2 years
something
ago?
like that. Yeah, just something like that.
Now, I think that Dak has 2 interceptions, and they're his fault because he's rushing. They're behind, and he's trying to force it.
No,
He's got
no.
Jerry coming in through the headset. Yeah,
Yep. All right, so San Fran across the board.
Jerry on the sidelines to watch it. Oh, that'd be beautiful.
And then Monday night, the Green Bay Packers travel to Las Vegas to take on the reeling Raiders at this point. Listen, with what happened against Detroit last week, I really feel like Green Bay comes out strong. Christian Watson and Aaron Jones, another week back from their hamstring injuries. I think they'll be ready to roll. I think Green
And
Bay
Jones
wins.
should really be ready to play.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think Green Bay wins this one pretty handily.
I agree.
Yep.
I'm going Raiders.
Really?
I'm going Raiders. I think they're going to rough them up out there. They're going to bring the physicality. They're going to put enough pressure. Crosby's going to be out there really pressuring to get Jordan Love just a little bit nervous. You're going to see Adams with 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. You see Josh Jacobs put 80 on the ground, touchdown.
Are you predicting that the Raiders have Garofalo back at quarterback?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
He was in concussion protocol, so he'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just had to ask because if it's the same quarterback as today,
Oh, yeah, no, this is assuming Garofalo's
Yeah,
back.
okay.
Yeah.
all right. So that's all of next week's games. Just so y'all know, if you're playing fantasy, if you have anybody for Cleveland, the Chargers, Seattle, or Tampa Bay, bye weeks have already started. I do not understand how bye weeks manage to last the entire season.
Cleveland already lost next week. Yeah.
That bye was going to bite
Test
them.
alert.
Yeah.
Script was leaked already.
Yeah.
And the Chargers are definitely going to miss on a 4th and 2 late in the game against the bye week also. All right, so any last thoughts on this week's football games?
This was a fun slate of games today. As Brian said, I hope that if Disney keeps doing that
Like, get
AI
it
type
right.
thing,
Yeah.
get it right, because that's really fun for sure, especially these early games. Why not?
Plus, it seems to be like they're doing a good job with that, like they were with the Nickelodeon thing of actually teaching the kids the rules
Yep.
of the game
Yeah,
as they go
which
along,
is smart.
which is
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Like, we know it's complicated. It's not as easy as soccer, but we can teach you kids,
I want to talk about it next week, but just kind of food for thought for going into it. If you guys think Sean Payton dislikes having Russell Wilson as his quarterback, and I want to see what happens next week, and then address that
Okay,
with the boys.
but to be fair, Sean Payton had Drew Brees for a long time,
yeah,
and they had such a good connection as a coach and quarterback. I think it'd be hard for him with really anyone especially of Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson before last year, you're thinking surefire Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Super Bowl champ.
last season was
Yeah.
so bad it kind of took the shine off that, and you forget just how good he's been in his career.
And whether that's because of Pete Carroll or not, like, he was still the
Right,
QB.
right.
playing
Yes.
with the best
Yeah.
defense in the league for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having Marshawn Lynch.
It helps. Oh, running backs do help?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
yeah.
The NFL told me that that's not
Yeah.
true.
Oh, someone's gonna pick up the blitz and buy me 3 more seconds in the pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, big deal. No, I agree. The biggest thing to me right now is the absolute ends of like the really good versus the really bad teams in the NFL. It is, boy, having a quarterback that's worth the lick is just so important. Mm-hmm. I mean, the money that they're making is kind of ridiculous on any end, and the owners too. But like, Daniel Jones, you cannot tell me that he is worth that much more money than Saquon Barkley at this
No,
point. You know,
no, he's
like,
not. As a Giants fan, I was so annoyed with the amount of money that they offered to Daniel Jones, which arguably he unproven because he was on a bad offensive line. So I can understand the faith in him as your quarterback, but to give him that kind of money and then to offer Saquon Barkley, who was proven to be the most consistent offensive piece of the puzzle, you offer him a quarter,
Yeah.
and well, they franchise tagged him, it was even worse. And well, no, sorry, then they got an extra $1 out of it, whatever.
Yeah.
But like that's bullshit, ridiculous.
tomorrow night, it is the Giants taking on Seattle. What were our picks for that game?
I said the Giants, baby.
Scott and I said the Giants. You guys said Seattle.
All right. Should
Yeah.
be a fun game.
I hope so.
It's in New York, right?
Yep.
So Geno Smith gets to come back to New Jersey and right some wrongs from his past. Be at least a good storyline, right?
That's true.
I
Yeah.
think it'll be fun as hell. Really looking forward to next week's games also. It's just amazing to me, some of these great players. It sucks already how many have gotten injured.
Yeah.
Like tonight, this would be such a fun game to watch with Aaron Rodgers, as much as I can't stand that man.
Agree.
This would have been such a different game to watch.
I'm hoping so. I noticed he's on the sidelines. He's in the booth. Not with the offensive coordinators, but he's in a booth. Maybe he's trying to help?
I think he is.
Maybe?
Everything I've seen from him this year, it looks like he is trying much harder to be a good leader and a good teammate.
No, I mean, try to actually help the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like his team, he always wants to help his team.
Yeah.
But help his replacement, I don't know, you know?
Right.
It's a fair point, but yeah.
But maybe.
At this point, like they already had the guy, so it's not like he's angry that he was
Yeah,
drafted.
yeah.
You know. All right. Eric, any last thoughts?
Good.
All good. All right. Well, if you have been watching on YouTube, thank you very much for tuning in. We do this every Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please give us a like, give us a follow. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Leave a little review there. If you have anything you'd like for us to discuss, we would love to see that also. But for After This Is Live, I am Matty Fax, joined by Scott Staton, Brian the Professor, and the great Scott Gunter. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see y'all next week.